So here we are, folks. We're outside of the Royal Blackburn Hospital in Lancashire. Very nice new hospital behind me there. And you'll see that the ambulances are queuing up. Quite a regular sight here. And the reason for that is that the emergency unit is totally and utterly overcrowded. We have people queuing up in the corridors. We have people queuing up in the rooms. They haven't been seen. If that's the case, then we've also got people who are in the ambulances who are sitting and waiting for the queues to die down so that they can then take their turn on the conveyor belt. So the NHS, they blame people for this. They say that people should go to their doctors rather than come here, but a lot of people have their backs against the wall. This is where they get treated. This is where they want to be treated. The problem they've got, of course, is when they go to their own doctor, they've often got a 2 or 3 week waiting time, because of overcrowding. And that's what it simply is, overcrowding. It's far too much pressure on a system that's already under pressure. And we blame this on the amount of people who are being allowed into this country. So are we going to blame the immigrants for this? No, we're not going to blame the immigrants for this at all, because the immigrants are taking advantage of a situation that's presented to them, like anybody would. The people we're blaming for this is our government, who are allowing this to happen. They're allowing people to come into this country, take advantage of this situation, people who haven't paid in a single penny in their lives, and putting other people who have paid into the system right to the back of the queue, often in the back of an ambulance waiting 2 or 3 hours to see somebody in the A&E department. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop down into the town centre, and we are going to speak to some people and see what their views are on the whole situation. I'm sure we'll get some very interesting responses. Just asking people if they've had any experiences of the A&E department at Blackburn Hospital and how long they've had to wait. Does that affect you at all?
Last time I was in there 2 years ago, 4.5 hour wait.
So you had a 4.5 hour wait?
At Blackburn, yeah.
Was that before you were treated or before you were seen?
I was seen and taken into a cubicle and then left for 4.5 hours.
I'd had a bad accident and I was kept waiting for how many hours?
At least 9.5. You had a
9.5 hours.
9.5
I had a
hours.
fractured femur and a smashed hip.
And you had to wait for 9.5 hours
Then
at
on a
A&E?
stretcher, yeah.
to the ward.
So where were you laid then at all that time?
Just on a stretcher in the alleyway, you know.
In the corridor?
Yeah.
Oh, not in corridor.
Well, in the corridor first of all, and then they put us in a side room, and then. But I'm still led there, you know.
So what do you think about that then? Do you think that's a good service?
No.
Who would you blame for that then? If you had to point the finger at somebody?
Well, I've always said that they're understaffed.
Understaffed?
Yeah.
Underfunded and
Yeah.
understaffed?
Yeah.
Right. So we could blame the government then, couldn't we really?
I would say so, yeah. They've got enough money to help, haven't they?
It took 6 hours to get seen.
6 hours?
My daughter had an anxiety and she had psychosis. It took 6 hours.
There's more and more people coming into the area, but what they're not doing is like grow the
So hang on, no,
making more schools,
just rewind.
housing.
There's more and more people coming into the area, but you're saying
Obviously, because I can't get a doctor's appointment.
no, because so you're saying that it's because there's an influx of people,
Yeah.
a sudden
Immigrants
rush,
as
immigrants,
well, a lot of immigrants.
immigrants. Right now, then we're getting to the crux of the matter.
There's a lot of immigrants here in Blackburn.
And what we're saying is that they are using our facilities,
Definitely.
and there are there's no measures in place to deal with that mass of people,
No.
and therefore the local people who have paid into the system all of their lives are
They're
suffering.
being left, yeah.
Being left,
Being left
right.
behind, yeah.
So you're saying people jump the queue?
Definitely.
Because you wait about 5 hours.
So you're on 5 hours?
Yeah.
We just spoke to a gentleman there, he was 9.5 hours.
Yeah, well, we've waited that long as well, haven't we, sometimes?
past,
yeah,
have
in
you?
the past, yeah. Yeah.
What, in the A&E department?
In the A&E department, yeah.
He was
you
on
get
the-
seen by trauma, the nurse at first, then you just sat waiting for hours.
So to do with the fact that the doctors are packed
You
full?
can't
or-
get an appointment at doctors. I can't get an appointment.
You can't
No,
get an appointment
I've got
at
a
the
disabled
doctors?
child. In fact, I've got 2, and I've got a little girl with asthma, and it's unreal. You have to sit this sale next Wednesday, but you need an appointment today or in 2 weeks' time.
So you're talking like weeks before you can get an appointment?
yeah.
By which time you
By
could be
which
dead,
time
of course.
yeah, or they could be better and don't need an appointment.
And is that forcing you to go to the A&E then?
Well, yeah.
We've got such a big community now, and it's getting bigger all the time, is our community, isn't
We've
it?
got a big community, what do you mean
there's
by that?
more people living in Blackburn, Accrington and Birmingham than there ever was.
Well, what do you put that down to then?
Well, it's due to people moving into the country, you know, people moving up north.
So it's immigration then?
Yeah.
I'm schizophrenic too, and if I have a breakdown, I've got to go to A&E, and I could be hallucinating, I could be hearing voices. I've still got to sit in A&E.
For up to 6 hours or more?
Yep.
And then he waited 5 days till they could operate on him because he was that bad of an injury. So it wasn't just a broken leg, was it?
So although they left me 9.5 hours, when it came to operating, they couldn't because it was so bad.
9 hours.
9 hours?
Yeah.
What, at the A&E in Blackburn?
Yeah. From 12 o'clock at dinner till 9 o'clock at night.
9 hours?
9 hours.
And what was that for then?
Because they had a migraine attack.
Right.
And they didn't, well, they said they didn't know what it were, on loads of drugs, and then ended up getting admitted for night.
They need to provide the services, and they're not funding for housing, schools, hospital, doctors.
So what you could say is that nobody's even thought about the detrimental effects it'll have on the local population when they import.
Well, it's like opening.
It's
It's like opening a supermarket, right, on a big one of these big industrial places. We all do this, but there's one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
So then, what happens? It's traffic jams. You need more than a one-way system. You need, if you're going to bring more and more people into the area, it needs more facilities, more areas, more
buildings.
more services.
So the
It's a
infrastructure
no-brainer.
is unable to cope with the sudden influx of people. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You tried to ring an appointment the other day at my doctor's. I've got a month and a half wait before I can, and that's a mental health problem.
A month and a half.
for an
You've got to wait
appointment.
to see the doctor.
Yeah.
So 10 hours. Who was that for?
Me.
Why? Could you tell us a little bit about it then?
I just broke my arm and I went up there. Went up about 7 o'clock and I got home, 4 or 5 in the morning.
Wow. So 10 hours.
Yeah.
10 hours in A&E.
Yeah, it's 9.5, 10 hours that.
So you went to A&E. Then what happened?
Well, obviously waiting.
Sitting and waiting. Did you wait for a length of time before you were seen?
Before I seen the first nurse, that was an hour and a half, and then obviously just waiting, to get it set.
So why do you think you were seen in an hour and a half then and then left?
Because they were busy. And there's no room up there, is there?
My doctor rung an ambulance for us to bring my son to the A&E, Blackburn A&E. It was only last year, I think. No, it was this year, this year. We got up there at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at 2 o'clock in the morning, before he got a bed on a ward. That's for my disabled son.
Wow. Who do you blame for the 9.5 hours then?
We weren't there for, obviously, because it was busy.
So it's to do with numbers then, is it? Was it chock-a-block in there?
It was.
What, like people in the corridors and...
Well, I've been up there a few times, and it's been people in corridors,
What sort of people were there then? I mean,
like people with sore heads, sore legs, broken arms, different things.
All right, lovely.
I was there 2 weeks ago.
Right, and that was the experience you just talked about there?
Yeah, no, that was a while ago, we experienced, but 2 weeks ago I was in and I just got that fed up of waiting and I ended up walking out.
Right.
Because I got that fed up of waiting.
So how long were you waiting then?
4 hours.
4 hours that time.
You know full well, I mean, a few weeks ago I played in a football tournament and I hurt my foot, and my partner said to me, you need to go to A&E, and the only reason why eventually I went, but the only reason why I kept saying no at first was because I knew of the waiting time. When you got up there, the sign was up, waiting time 4.5 hours, that was just to get seen. So then on top of it, so you rounded off, so you're going to be in there, just have your foot x-rayed and looked at about 6 hours.
Nice.
You work it out, I mean, we have ourselves, the British people that have lived here, and then obviously we have your migrants that are coming in and stuff like that, and obviously then they're entitled to your NHS systems and all that. So obviously they're not just taking they've got everybody, so they might have doubled from, say, from years ago, from when all
But
this.
should they be entitled? I mean, they haven't paid a penny in.
No.
This is.
I mean,
I don't believe that they are, but.
If we go to another country, we're not allowed to.
Well, you just go to Spain for an holiday, and you've still got to pay.
Yeah.
You've still got to pay in Spain.
Indeed.
Even though you've paid insurance and everything else, you've still got to pay if you land in one of their hospitals. Yet they're part of EU as well.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean. Yeah. And making us lot pay. You know what I mean, and yet they can come to this country and get it for free.
But we can't blame people for taking advantage of that situation,
no,
can
you
we?
Can't.
I mean, you do it, wouldn't you?
It's the government. It's the government that's
the
government set the rules out. People just abide by them. if the government wants to let migrants in, that's down to the government. You know,
So what we
we just live our lives, and it's down to the government. So when your NHS is overrun because it's got your British people in, and then your migrant people coming in, you know, nothing against them, and then it's all on the news that the NHS there's no resources, or they've no money for this, no money for that. Well, you know, you've let people into the country, which are right, you know, they might be entitled to come in, but you've let them in and told them that they can have all this free NHS service, they can have this, they can
education.
They've only got themselves to blame, the government.
So there we go, folks. We've been around the town centre asking people about their personal experiences with the A&E department at Blackburn Hospital. And to be quite frank, I'm extremely shocked. I was expecting, 1, 2 hours, 3 hours at the most, 4 maybe at an extreme push. But the last lady we've spoke to there, she says her experience with a disabled son was 12 hours. 12 hours in an A&E department. And that was sitting in the A&E, in the corridor, waiting in a side room, basically being shunted around from here, there and everywhere. So I'm very, very shocked at what I've seen today, and I should imagine that this isn't just happening around here. I'm sure it's happening in other A&E departments, in other hospitals and in other doctors' surgeries. We've heard how people are using the A&E because they can't get an appointment at their doctors. So it's there's a lot to be said. The infrastructure that we now have is unable to cope. I would suggest that one of the problems with that is underfunding, and the other one is the sheer number of people who are being allowed to come into this country and take advantage of our system. So, interesting day there. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I shall see you around. Thank you.
To donate to the British National Party, please call 0844 809 4581 or go to www.bnp.org.uk/donations/general.